My mic a little bit closer. Can you hear
There
me
we
good,
go.
Justin?
I can hear you just fine.
All right. Guys, we are here for our second part of Lunch and Learn. Last Tuesday, we did this, and we just kind of went through automation processes, softwares that can help you get your time back so that you just simply get out there and keep making more offers, getting face to face with people. How is business done? Face to face, like toes to toes, right? And what is it that bogs us down from doing that? And you'll see that there's so many processes going on with just in our wholesaling businesses or real estate businesses that you're like, gosh, if I just had something that could do this for me, I could be out there talking to more individuals. Or if something could take over this for me, I'd be out there and be able to close more contracts. And so our whole goal here today is help you learn of all the different softwares out there, help you learn of some of the automations, the processes that I personally have in my business, that Justin personally has in his businesses, that allow you to free up that time, get that time back so that you're using it to go meet with more sellers. I just saw a quote the other day and I ended up reposting it on my Instagram. He or she who goes on the most appointments wins. Period. The end. So what can we do each and every day to make sure that some of the processes, some of the systems are in place, some of the automations in place so that we can have more appointments, go on attended appointments, because that's really how you win the game. Last week, let me give you an update. We just did our deal closing mastery today where we just do a breakdown. It's our meetings that we do with our acquisition managers. And we have about 50 guests that join this from all around the nation. And this last week, guys, from just honing in on having conversations because we have automation, because we have processes. Last week, now this is not every week. I want to be sure I'm not that guy that's like, this is what we do every week. It's not. But last week we put 9 deals under contract, awesome. 6 of them in Utah, 3 of them in Texas. And it was just one of those weeks that you're like, yeah, baby. I felt like Christmas last week. So let's get going. So Justin, how the heck are you? You are in Long Beach right now, enjoying some time there. What are we going to be talking about? Maybe do another introduction because there could be some people that are new today. They're like, who's this Justin character? Let them know a little bit about what you do and that you invest, all the fun stuff so they can get to know you.
All right. Sounds good. So back 10 years ago, I started my real estate investing journey. I started with renovations, moved up, did a bunch of renovations, low-end homes, middle market, and then high-end homes, went into high-end new construction, currently doing a lot of condo conversions in the city of Boston. I'm also doing wholesales. So I usually have, a couple large development deals, but then I have, which is my long-term capital, and then I do a lot of wholesales for the short-term capital.
Yeah.
So I still very much am an investor. And through the journey, I found just different ways to create efficiencies in the business.
Yeah.
And I saw there were huge voids in the market to create those efficiencies. So I thought I would start offering those services and products to people. And one of the first ones I got into, like direct mail. So I started offering a very unique way to send direct mail to get you more noticed better than your competition.
Yep.
And so I started open letter marketing about 4.5 years ago now. So we do anything from direct mail. We offer skip tracing, a bunch of other list services, and also software. So now we've really moved into the powerful aspects of how to leverage technology to give people back their time. Because I know as an investor, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you're a solopreneur.
Yep.
Man, there's only so many hours in a day.
Really tough when you're a solopreneur. And it's like you want to scale, but it's like I don't have enough time to scale and I'm not quite bringing in enough deals to scale, or that there's that nervous fear. So I get what you're saying. Keep going.
Yeah. So when I started out, I knew like once I got a deal, it's like I let the marketing go to the wayside because now I have to focus on this deal that I have, especially on a renovation.
Yep.
And then everything else I forgot. I lost all that momentum, the marketing momentum. When I sold the deal, I'd pick up marketing back up. So it's super inefficient. So I know those struggles. Yeah, up and down, huge. It's not just like a little bit. It's
roller coaster. It's like highest of highs and lowest of lows.
Yes. So after doing that for a period of time, knowing that I need to stop losing this momentum and continuing to push forward, how do I do that? How do I create efficiencies? And really, just by solving my own issues, I'm solving other investors. They're going through the same exact thing that I am.
Yep.
Just like, anybody goes through the same stuff. So creating the CRM, creating some other software to really make sure that people are utilizing their time in the best way.
Yep.
And pushing their company forward to grow it. Because the other thing too is, like, we know that many deals, more than 50% of our deals, come through follow-up. So that was a huge challenge for not only myself, but other investors. How do you make sure that you continue to follow up with these people?
Dude, this is huge.
Right? Because you're spending the money up front to market to them. They call you back. They say, yeah, I might be interested in 3 months, 6 months. And then you let that lead go, go down a black hole, and you never follow up with them. And then later on, you find out they sold it to another investor. You just spent the money. You talked to them. You had everything that you needed. You just didn't follow up with them. So if you know that's a lot of your deals are going to come through follow-up, how do we make it automated?
Majority. I mean, did you say a percent? Like ours, we noticed it's always, it's 70% or higher of our deals. Yeah. It doesn't matter what month I look at, 70%, let's just call it for an easy number. 70% of our deals come from follow-up. 30% or less come from like the ones like on the spot or low-hanging fruit. Majority is follow-up. And if we're not doing it, you're missing out on 70% of the deals.
Yeah. And people can feel like they're being as proactive as possible.
Yeah.
But it's the stuff like the follow-up, the menial tasks, like, oh, I got to figure out, I need to know when I need to respond to this person, or how long ago, when did they tell me to follow up, right? All these like little nuances, that's the important stuff that if you can leverage a system, you don't need to remember all this stuff. You can have, if you had a system that tells you when you need to respond to them or even do it for you, and you have to wait for the responses to filter back in, that's huge for your business, huge, especially if that's where most of your revenue is coming from.
So let me see. I got a sideline here. Guy says audio's in and out. Oh no, he says audio's good now. So that's cool. Good. That's good. By the way, guys, I'm gonna put this up for like 2 seconds. While we're speaking, we'll take some questions live. So if you have some questions, like Justin's gonna be sharing some stuff, I'll be sharing some stuff, and if it like sparks this question, feel free to chime in. We'll read the questions on the side, and we'll try to answer the best we can. So that'll be something we can do. So we'll take questions live. Awesome. Okay, so let's get right into like meat and potatoes. We're here, lunch and learn. In fact, we had a guy that said, good afternoon. Look how cool this is. Good afternoon, everyone. Tuning in from Washington, D.C. on my lunch break now.
Nice.
Love listening and learning.
That's
so
awesome.
He's right on lunch break. So this is a true lunch and learn for most people. So let's go through this. Let's talk about some of the softwares. What is it that helps us automate? What helps us put a process in place so that we can get that time back? And what is it when it comes to, guys, follow-up? 70%. This is not something to just mosey on over. This is something that you should take serious. 70% of deals come from follow-up. And so let's look at what are some of the softwares, what are some of the automation that can help follow-up. Because if we're not doing follow-up, call yourself out. Like, I'm not doing follow-up. Yeah. Let us show you some things that we have in both of our businesses that allow you to make sure follow-up is taking place, but do it in an automated way. Do it with a process that is something you can follow, but something you can scale, which is huge. So,
okay, cool. So there's two systems, there's two software that we've created.
Okay.
And when I look at any investment business, I look at it as two aspects. Things that occur prior to talking to a seller and things that occur after you talk to a seller. So, and let me just share my screen here. Can I share my screen?
You sure can. And once you do, let me know, and I should be able to see it on my end, and I just add it to it. Yep, here it is. So Justin, also real quick, let's see. I've closed on a few deals. Here's one that we'll do. Do you find difficulty in doing JVs? JVs are tricky. Let me just tell you, like, I would get with a real estate attorney on that. Real estate's not equal. I'll put it that way. Every state interprets the law differently. So if you're going to be doing JVs, yes, it's possible, but I'd also get the real estate attorney to make sure you have the right verbiage in place, the right contracts in place that allow you to do it. What advice do you have on finding consistency? And this is going to help with some of that right now that we're going to be talking about. of the consistent. Really, it's just small and simple things. So when you hear of people doing 10 or 15 deals a month, it's not any one big thing they're doing. They're just willing to do the small and simple things consistently.
Consistently, yes.
Hopefully you just find the small little nuggets on this that we're going on. Okay, so go for it. Tell them what they're looking at. What is this portal? What does it do? What are they looking at? And let's break it down.
So as I mentioned last week, as we went through, right, we showed everybody the portal, openlettermarketing.com/REFF. That is Cody's portal and his whole tribe, right, that follow him. And we made sure that we set this up so it's very straightforward, because there's a lot of times, especially if you're new, you're unsure on what do I use this system, do I use this product, do I use this service, which one do I use, and it stops you from moving forward. So we wanted to reduce that kind of friction point and make it very straightforward and easy for people to understand exactly what they need to do, and at what time, at the different intervals, answer a lot of those questions. So we created this portal specifically to answer all those questions and provide the products and services to really get people up and running, and doing a lot of the stuff that we're using in our businesses right now. So here, when you come into the portal,
look at this. I love this. Hi guys, I'm calling myself out. I'm not doing follow-up, LOL. I'm trying to find the best way to follow up. Well, get ready. Is it Kari, I think? Is that how you would say it too, Justin? Kari?
Yeah, Kari.
All right, so here we go. Hopefully this is something that adds a lot of value. So get ready.
Awesome. So I'll just jump into it. This is the portal, right? You have, as we went over last week, and if you haven't watched last week, I would recommend that you do, because we go through this whole portal, what's offered, how to purchase the products and all that stuff. And this week we're going to start to roll into the software, like we mentioned. So Investor Hub is going to be your software solution prior to having a conversation with the seller. So anywhere from list creation through marketing execution. OLM Deal Flow is what we're going to get in through to today. That talks about after you've had a conversation with the seller, from that point on through to closing, what are all the different processes that are going to occur, and how does the system help alleviate a lot of the challenges that are there for investors? And then the return mail system, we'll probably go through that next week as well. But
guys, real quick, so when we talk about this deal flow, the CRM, what we're going to be getting into, just think of CRM, it's your customer relationship management system.
Yes.
And we're just going to talk about how it's like, that's your central place for all contacts, whether it's cash buyers, whether it's motivated sellers, whether it's leads. It's just a central location that can have all your contacts stored that you can also attach tasks to that will automate. So he'll get more into this, but just so you know what deal flow and CRM means.
Yep.
So by the way, I'm not drinking, Justin. This is not a Heineken. This is a Perrier, guys. So just so you know, my lunch and learn is not a binging drinking. This is sparkling water, guys.
I wouldn't have held it against you if you did. All right, let me jump over here. I have to toggle back and forth between screens to see too. So let me jump in. So this is my deal flow system, right? This is the CRM system that we were talking about. And the goal for the system is to make everybody have a central location for all of your leads, to be able to create follow-ups, to be able to look to see what conversations you had with sellers, to be notified when you have new sellers, to just simplify the whole process.
Yeah.
And Cody, you're a big believer in using CallRail. I use CallRail as well.
That's all I've used. In fact, that's all I've used that since May of 2015. Like it's been.
I agree.
Before that, I used for like a short time CallFire, and it just didn't do the capabilities I wanted. But CallRail is fantastic.
Same here. So we use CallRail. Not only do we use CallRail, it's integrated into the system. So when somebody calls me on one of my CallRail phone numbers, and let me just go into my phone numbers here. You can see I have a lot of different. Right, I have a lot of different phone numbers.
These are all the numbers he's purchased from CallRail, guys. For those that are maybe new to this, like, what the crap am I looking at? Instead of putting like your cell phone number on all your marketing pieces, you would buy these numbers from CallRail and put those numbers on the mail pieces, and you can have those numbers through CallRail forward to your cell phone so that no one has it.
Absolutely. And you can identify which phone numbers you want to track and which numbers you don't. So I don't need to track calls that come through my cell phone, right? I just want to track the calls that come through in my marketing phone numbers.
Yeah.
So basically what happens is when somebody calls one of these phone numbers, the system will check to see if they're already in my CRM. And if not, it'll create a new lead automatically for me.
So
And
this is huge, guys, to kind of break this down even simpler. Normally, if you don't have a CRM, like you are, for example, you're getting like a piece of paper, right? Which, by the way, Post-it Note is probably the company out there that has cost more millions of dollars in business than any other company. Because what we do is we take the note and then we stick it somewhere. And then someday we pick it off and throw it in the garbage because we don't think we need it. And it had your lead on it. You just threw away what could be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 by throwing away that paper. Yep. But if you don't have a CRM, you're like, Jim called me and he says he's looking to sell his home. And you're putting on paper. No. We need it in a CRM. But what's cool about this is when a call comes in, it automatically populates the lead in your CRM so that you don't have to input it yourself. Keep going.
Yep. So once somebody comes into the system, a lead is automatically created. And let me actually pop over to this one here. Just the same exact thing, just not giving my data here. So the seller lead is created, right? And then let's look at Tom Brady here.
Tom Brady. We got Tom Brady, a motivated seller.
So let's dive in. Seller lead is created, and the goal for the system too is not to overcomplicate things and provide a lot of fields that aren't going to be used. We want to provide you with the fields and the logic, right, from beginning to end of how you would have a conversation with the seller. So when somebody comes in here, once they call in, not only does it identify what phone number that they called in from, right? So it captures, okay, they called in from my Driving for Dollars. So now I know this is on my Driving for Dollars list. Then I also know this is the marketing campaign that they're on that I sent them. They're calling me off of this marketing campaign. So now through the life of this lead, I can track how much money did I make off of this campaign. And if you have a bunch of different marketing strategies, you can see which ones are my best marketing strategies, which ones are my worst, and then get rid of the ones that aren't performing very well and improve on the ones that are paying off. That's right. So things are tracked the whole way through.
The other thing, guys, I want to point out, and Justin, I apologize that I'll keep jumping in a little bit. But
no, please, yes.
I think what's really cool about this, guys, is to not be mind-driven when you run your business, but you be data-driven. So the people that are data-driven are so much more successful than the people that, you know what, I've got an extra $1,000. I think I should put it on the tax delinquent list. Well, instead of your mind telling you what you think you should do, why don't you just look at your numbers and be data-driven? And data should tell you, hey, when you have an extra $1,000, spend it here because this has been your best ROI when you spend money in this location, on this mail campaign, on this mail piece, to this list. If you had something that could tell you that, man, pulling the trigger on putting money on something would be so much easier versus, well, I don't know if it's going to come back, so I'm not going to do it. But if data's telling you, you got real-time data telling you, man, when you spend $1 on this campaign and on this list, you're getting $6 back. Bingo. I know where I'm going to go throw some more money. Absolutely. So that's what's killer about this, guys.
Yeah. KPIs are so critical to your business to really
Key
understand.
Performance indicators or KPIs.
Yep. So going through this, if you have a team, let's say you have a team and you have a couple acquisitions people, you can automatically pass this to one of your acquisitions team, so they get notified when a new lead is created, or if there was a missed call, they'll immediately get notified. This is also going to, once you add in your property address, it's going to show you, top-down view and a Google Street View, so you can see.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so you can, there's just so many different things. I'm not going to go through each one of these, but I'll just show you a couple of factors on here. So if they talk to you and you said, hey, I'll call you back in a couple of days, right? Instead of having to create a task in a Podio system, what this platform is built off of, we made it easy so you can just click a button, right? Click on 2 days, and it'll automatically create a task and send you an email in 2 days reminding you to call this person back or follow up. So you can see right down here, follow up task date.
Guys, this is legit because normally you're like typing in your own task. Like normally in a normal Podio setup for probably 90% of people that are using Podio, you'd scroll to the bottom and enter a task, like, and then you'd have to create it. Call back Jim, and then you'd create the day and the time that you're going to call him, and then it will alert you.
Yep.
What this is doing is instead of, I know it sounds like, oh, but it's not that hard. But again, talking about time, if you talk to 15, 20 leads a day, that's 15, 20 times that takes about, let's call it, let's say on the low end, let's just say 1 minute. 1 minute every time you create a task. That's 20 minutes a day you're already given back on just this one process, because instead of having to type in the task, you just simply push, call them in 2 days, and then it alerts you in 2 days, call Jim back.
Yep. Yeah, and people, it might seem like these are such small things like you mentioned for people, but once you scale, right, it's all about scaling, building your business. These things are so critical. And the goal is to get everything that's out of your head into a CRM, because I always look at it, if I gave somebody access to my CRM, would they understand who needs to be followed up with at what point in time?
Yeah.
And that's how we've developed a CRM, because I want to get people, as I start to grow my business and have acquisitions people, I want there to be consistency throughout, so everybody knows what they need to do, what leads that they need to talk to, where things are in the follow-up sequence.
And are your notes that you, let's say I'm talking to Justin Silverio is a lead, I'm talking to you, and you tell me your dog just fell down the stairs and broke its hip. Mm-hmm. Would I add that in that add comment section right there?
Yep.
So what I like, guys, is now I'm listening to stories, because 95% or more of your competition is not listening to the story. All they care about is the deal. And I would be in that comment section saying, Nick has a dog that just recently broke its hip.
Yes.
So that when I get my task and it says, call Justin back, I go to the notes and it says, Justin's dog broke its hip. Mm-hmm. My follow-up is not going to be, hey, Justin, I called you yesterday and we talked about your home for sale. I'm going to be like, hey, Justin, man, just following up. I remember yesterday I was sitting there holding my dog in the front yard, and I thought how brutal it must be going through seeing that your dog broke its hip. How are you doing, man? How's your dog doing? And that's then awesome. We'll lead it into the home. But I'll start with a story. Why? Because I want to build rapport. So the CRM allows you to, when you're listening to their story, to write the comments in, and it will attach it to the lead, so that when you do follow up, don't make it about the home. Make it about them. Make it about the people. People love that. People don't care about what you have to say until you care about them.
That's huge. That little nugget right there, that's a huge nugget for building rapport. That's really so important. And that's why, my acquisitions people, I always tell them, I need to understand it. I know that you've built rapport by understanding. You'll have more information about their story, why they're selling, what's happening in their life. The more that you can show me that you know what's going on in their life, then more that I know that you've built rapport, because they're opening up to you. Yeah. And that is actually more important to me than the property or sometimes the price. If I know that they're going through a certain situation, that's actually a much more important identifier that we're going to be buying
something even as fun as this. So
yeah,
this guy was talking about how they're like an avid Star Wars fan. Like, guys, when you come here, don't laugh at me because my house has memorabilia everywhere. Like, it's Star Wars everywhere. And the guy made his own lightsabers in the garage. Like, I'm saying fanatic. This guy knew everything, like everything. He knew every line. He knew everything about Star Wars. And I sat there in awe. Well, when we did follow-up, here's what we did is my acquisition manager was walking in Walmart, and he was going down one of his aisles, and there was a Star Wars figurine. And he literally picked up his phone, and he had in the background the Star Wars figurine, and he just did a video text. He says, hey, John, just following up with you. I'm over at Star Wars, or I'm over at Walmart right now, and I remember you saying that you love Star Wars, and there's this figurine that's on sale. I'm actually going to pick it up for you because I just remember you freaking love Star Wars. And we got that deal. Because it's about them. It's about their stories, about their interest. And so we even go as far as that. And we did a video text about, like, while we're in Walmart with a Star Wars character behind us, picked up the Star Wars character, purchased it. and we got the deal.
And it's that stuff. I bet you would have got the deal even if somebody else offered like $5,000, $10,000 more.
That's right.
Because of the rapport that you built and just by doing that.
That's right.
Those are the like ninja. Those are the such important things, like really advanced stuff where you're getting the deal, but not only are you getting the deal, somebody offered more money. So you've done a really, really good job in building that rapport. That's awesome, man. So going down through here, right, you have a lot of the property details. You have a lot of the stats that carry through the whole system about this lead. Call history. So when they call, and let me just see if we've done a test where we have a bunch of calls in here. Let me just see. So if you receive a call or place a call in the system, let me go back to my system because I know we're going to have a lot more.
While he's pulling up his system, guys, if you have questions about like specifically on the CRM, does it do this? Can it do this? Why this? Why that? I put this banner up for just a second so you can see it. We'll take your questions live. So if you have some questions, feel free to chat because this is your chance for him to like, hey, but what about this? Does it do this? And he'll be able to answer that and show you real time. So that's something that's pretty unique to this little lunch and learn right now.
Yeah. So here you can see call history. This will capture all the inbound and outbound calls that you've placed to this seller so that I can click on this call and I can scroll down, listen to recording, and it downloads the file so I can listen to what the conversation was like. So it captures all inbound and outbound calls. Also, by the end of this week, we're going to have click to call functionality. So you can come over here and it's going to say, call this person. Yep, right through CallRail. So again,
this is why, guys, another reason why to be in CallRail, because it's integrated into this CRM, which is killer. Click to call would be amazing.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. And we've finalized it. We're just going through testing this week, and it's going to be ready for deployment for all our existing customers and all new customers going forward. So they don't even have to get out of the system. They just press on push to call, and then it calls them right from there. And then it will record the conversation with the seller here.
All right, here's our first one, Justin.
Let's hear it.
Does this CRM have a drip campaign?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I'll get to that in 2 to 5 minutes.
2 to 5 minutes.
2 to 5 minutes.
With Francisco, because he's got your question. And then also says text, RVM, email, drip campaign.
All of those, yes.
Holy! It's like I feel like I'm on one of those like game shows. And it's like, but wait, that's not it.
It's more.
If you act today, we'll throw in RVM, text messaging, drip campaigns, and emails. All right, keep going. So Francisco, stay with us. He's going to be 2 to 5 minutes. He'll be talking about the drip campaigns, the RVMs, the text messages, the emails, all that fun stuff.
Yep. It also records text messages inbound and outbound through CallRail. So if I can actually text this person from here and type in SMS, whatever I want. If I hit enter, it's going to text their phone number, and it will then show up under SMS history. And if they respond, it'll show up in SMS history, and I'll also be notified that they texted me.
So you just trigger it by typing MSM or
SMS colon, and then whatever I want after. Yep.
And then whatever you want. And that goes through. And is that just a different software? Or is that just part of it? Is that CallRail? That's CallRail.
Yeah, we wanted to integrate with CallRail, but we also, as important as is to text out, I always want to know, well, if they text in, how am I going to know that they could text in? Do I have to go to CallRail? No, the system's actually going to send you an email to notify you that they texted you back.
That's awesome.
You can also email right from here and just type in email colon, whatever you want, and you can actually email this person to the email address that you have on file with them. So you can do all those very quick texts and emails right here, right in their seller lead.
Dude, that's awesome. Really again, guys, these are just little things. Again, it all adds up. When we talk about saving 15 minutes on setting tasks to 20 minutes, there's 20 minutes back.
Yep.
Not having to log from your let's say go from your CRM over to Gmail and type in. Yes, we're only talking like 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds. But if you're doing like follow-up all day long and it's like 4 hours of follow-up, 30, 40, 50 minutes of that could be just switching back and forth between the softwares. You're now in one central location, one central hub. That 30 to 40 minutes and the 20 minutes of setting the tasks, what would you do if you had another hour in the day? I'll
Mhm.
tell you what I'd be doing. I'd be face to face with sellers, locking down more deals. So this is killer.
So now we get into the property details, right? That was all the general information. Now we get into property details. You can add a property card, or you can add a link to Redfin or Zillow or whatever you want. This is the back end of our public records. So I can just click on that, which makes it really easy to get to the property record. Autofill that. And now I'm at the property record. So I can see what's going on. I can look at the assessed value, last sale date,
Yeah.
total value, everything, mortgage history, all of that. Motivation, right? So
Click on the difference, high, mediums, or lows.
Yep. Property
Which, by
type.
the way, then at that point, let's say I have 2 hours today that I only want to focus on my high level leads.
Right
I
here.
don't want to talk to my mediums. I don't want to talk to my lows. I just know today my best use of my time would be to spend on my high level leads. How would I instantly just click on and find all of my high level leads so I only spend time on the high level?
I just did it as you were talking.
Hear this, guys. This is beautiful. I knew the CRM would do this. That's why I put it on the spot. But I want you to know the reality. So instead of like sifting through like, oh, who was high, who was low, who was medium, who was this, who was this, who was this, you can literally just through here filter out. I only want to find the high level leads. And boom. That's what I'm going to go spend my next 2 hours on.
Yeah. So we set up different views, they're called. So when you click on the seller leads, this is the main view. You can see all of your leads, but then you can narrow it down and say, all right, well, let me just attack all my highly motivated people.
Yep.
So there's 90 of them. So once I clicked on that, they showed you the 90, right? If I wanted medium, and then there's different ways to parse the information. If you have different team members, you can click on, what are the leads that this person's working on, or how many leads did I get in this month or this month? So there's just different ways to narrow things down. And we really thought about the different views and how people would use it, because it's exactly how we would use it, because we're doing very similar stuff on investing.
Guys, if you can't see anywhere either on Facebook or YouTube, no matter where it's at, sometimes no matter what media channel on, you don't know. So let me put on the screen real quick. This what he's talking about is found at www.openlettermarketing.com/REFF. That stands for Real Estate Freedom Formula. This is how you get all of my pricing. I'm like, Justin, I need my pricing. My team, my tribe, my community, they need special pricing. And so he developed this portal for us, guys, and that's how you'd access it. Openlettermarketing.com/REFF. And this is where he's at.
And the pricing for this system is awesome. We had a lot of discussions on, just making sure the price point's right for the people starting out, because I really want people to get onto the system as soon as possible to learn it, because they're going to be ahead of the curve. And then it can grow with them as their company expands. They add more people on. If you get on it earlier, you're going to be much better suited for as you start to grow. Unfortunately for me, I didn't build the system until after I grew, and I had to switch my systems, which made it a little bit more clunky and difficult to follow up. But now that I'm on it, my team, it's just very, very easy.
Awesome. Awesome.
So as you go through, you can see, right, reason for selling. So these are the critical things. What's the occupancy? What's their motivation? What's their reason for selling? The sale timeline. So if I see high motivation, it's vacant, the reason for selling, somebody passed away and they want to sell now, like those are all indicators that you can actually screen for. And here you can create your own view and say, just show me the people that have high motivation, vacant, and want to sell now. Yeah. And now you can create a view and even attack those more niche down lists of people. So there's a lot of different ways that you can look at this information. Then down here, you have condition info and then other notes, right? So you can see all of the notes that we have in here, right? Yep. What's the motivation? This is the call that we had on 7/6, all the details. So we understand, just like what Cody said, we can speak to kind of their situation and how things are going.
Yep.
Scroll down further, your communication log. This little field is so critical that most people don't really think about. Last communication date. Again, if I go back to all of my leads and I organize by the last communication date, the furthest back, I'll pull up 365 days haven't talked to this person.
Yeah.
That's huge, because I want to make sure that we're always on top of all of our leads and at least have some sort of form of communication at a minimum every 30 days or 45 days.
Yeah.
So that little piece, though, is so powerful because you can see which leads are almost starting to fall through the cracks, so you can pick them back up.
Guys, you got to remember the whole saying, no lead left behind,
Yep.
right? My kids say this all the time, and I adopted it for no lead left behind. They watch the movie Trolls, and there's this part where he's like, no trolls left behind. And so we've adopted this because they always say that. They say it nonstop. I'm like, guys, I know, no trolls left behind. But then I was like, man, this is brilliant. No lead left behind. If you can have automation, if you can have a system that tells you what leads are slipping through the crack or what leads have not been talked to in the last 7 days, 10 days, 15 days, you set the parameters and it alerts you. How sweet would that be versus, man, who was it on Wednesday I talked to? Gosh dang it, I know I talked to someone on Wednesday. What was their name? Now you just have to go to the CRM. It's already in there. It's already set for you. It's automation. It's a process. It's a system. You let software take over this so that you don't have to worry about that. All you got to do is wake up and say, what are my tasks today?
Yes.
And as long as you push the buttons, your tasks are going to be lined up for you and you know every day what to do. And then you can go to that view and say, I better make sure, has there anyone that hasn't been talked to in the last 30 days? Oh, these 7 leads. I better send out, even if it's, okay, well, it's their low level. Well, send out a text, SMS : send out a text. Hey, just checking in on you, how you doing, and do some kind of follow-up, right?
Yep. And all the tasks that you create for yourself or for your team, right? If you can create other people on your team a task, and all that they have to do is click on this task button up here, and it'll show them, right, all overdue tasks, upcoming tasks, everything.
Yep.
So
here's a question. Are you able to see that, Justin? Says, is there a limit on how many team members can access deal flow?
No. So we have in the system, we have 4 different plans. The first plan is for 1 user.
Like the solopreneur, guys, the beginner that doesn't have a team.
Right. So we have 1 user, 3 users, 5 users, 10 users. And you can always add more users for an additional cost because we go through Podio. Podio charges per user access. So that's the way we do it. We want to give a very good pricing for people that are just solopreneurs, which is a crazy good price for jumping on this program. And then we want it to grow with the people too. So as they add on more team members, they're more than welcome to do that.
Here's a good question. I like curveball questions, by the way. So this is one of those ones. I'm currently testing out RE Simply CRM, which is not Podio based. In your opinion, is a Podio based CRM more efficient for real estate investing business? I'd love to hear like your feedback on what is it about Podio that you love. I don't know anything about RE Simply. I don't know that one. So I can't give you any value there, but I'd love to hear why Podio based.
I don't know RE Simply, their system, so I can't say if it's more efficient or not. The reason that I have it set up in Podio is because the platform is already built out. It's all about how the platform is built out specific to the user, right? And because this system could be perfect for one person in the same industry, but terrible for another person.
That's right.
When I created
Podio has so many, I mean, you can build it custom to you. The fact that you are an investor and you built it so that it works for real estate. But Podio, you could use it as a sales floor CRM. You wouldn't use these functionalities. You wouldn't use these, I guess they'd call them apps. You wouldn't use it this way. You wouldn't have it built this way. You'd have Podio built custom for a sales floor like management system. So Podio is really like any industry can use it. What's nice about it is Justin's uniquely built it already for the real estate space.
Yeah, and not only that, I took a lot of time to figure out what is the most efficient path and logical way for people to go through a different flow, whether that's seller lead, whether that's your buyers and investors that you're selling wholesale deals to, whether you're managing contractors, whether you're trying to figure out KPIs and where you're losing deals. Maybe from first conversation to appointment, you have a really low percentage. You can hone in and understand that there's a low percentage conversion rate there, so you can drill into that. Like there's a lot of things that I spent a lot of time, not only in my company, but learning from other people and how they kind of operate their own business, and created a system that is very good for the large majority of investors that are wholesalers, that are rehabbers. It's very uniquely created for that.
Here's a question. I'm still using the CRM or I'm sorry, let's go to that one in a second. I'll answer that one. Does Deal Machine sync with this?
Deal Machine doesn't. Oh, well, no, actually, Deal Machine does sync with it through Zapier.
Okay, so if you include Zapier, yes, you can get to sync as well.
Yeah, Zapier, you can. So that's the other thing. Podio has Zapier. Zapier integrates into Podio. There's so many things that you can connect to Podio just on its own because it's Podio based, that they've built such a great API so you can make that connection. So Deal Machine does have API in Zapier, I believe. So once it has that, you're good to go.
Okay, this one I can answer. I'm still using CRM from just the coaching program that going through our coaching program. Would you recommend switching to Podio or not until I'm ready to expand? So this is just the question that you can ask yourself. That the best way to answer this is, I put 2 ways within the program, within the coaching program. I put one that's like really, really like cost friendly. That is more like if you have a tight budget, because everyone comes from their own walks of life. Some people come in like it's bootstrapping, so every penny counts for them. And so that's why you'll have those 2 options in the course. You'll have one that pushes you to the other CRM that you're part of. If money is a non-issue, here's the difference. Instead of having the CRM, the phone, and the email as 3 separate places, what's nice about the Podio is it's all one location. So within the course, I talk about our CRM that's like free for the first X amount of contacts before they start charging. And then it's like MailChimp for the email, but MailChimp cost, and then it goes as high as like $50 a month. And then there was CallRail. Well, the beautiful thing is CallRail you're going to need regardless. But what's nice about this CRM, if budget's a non-issue, you can learn about just being a solopreneur, what that cost breakdown is. But that already includes the email service inside of it. So you no longer need to go get MailChimp. So you'd be saving money there. So is it still less? That's why I say, Julio, it just depends on budget. So just ask yourself, if you have the budget, I would say, yeah, get over to this Podio-based one that's right here in this platform. I mean, this is what I'd want my students on 100% because this is what I'm personally on. I would say by doing that, yes, it'll be a little bit more money, but if money's a non-issue, it'll also save you a lot of like jumping around from different softwares, but then just growth over time and scaling. You don't have to get to the point where you're like, now I got to export all those contacts and import, and then I got to make sure all this is communicated, and then I got to make sure all the different communications and the notes that I have transferred over, because some systems don't talk with each other. And so you might have to manually go back in and now update all these things, which if you have 1,000 leads, that can be brutal. So it's more of just a cost budget thing. So I put those 2 options out there so that you have one that if you're on a tight budget, totally understand, and we can make that work. And if it's non-issue, then I'd say go right to here, because growth-wise and scalability and ease of doing business in the future will be that much simpler. So Julio, fantastic question.
Yeah. I'm going to just kind of run through this deal info, right? You can provide all the deal info here, what type of deal you're looking at, what type of, price or ARV it is, if you're wholesaling or you're selling it on the back end as a rehab. You can enter all your information. It'll compute your profit based on that information. Ballpark offers. So, I mean, how I generally go, there's so much information behind of why, there's so much reasoning behind each field that, we have tons of help desk tutorials and videos and showing people all of this stuff and what they mean and what they do. But like, I always provide a ballpark offer to people before I give them a specific number, just to see if we're in the right ballpark. So this is why I always have, if I get down to, I need to buy it at 250, I'll tell them like mid 200s to see if we're in the same ballpark, and then give them a more specific price. Once I go out, visit the property, talk to them, build a rapport more. Yeah. Analysis notes, you can put your comps in here. This is where we get to the follow-up sequences. It's a little bit over 5 minutes, but I got here.
I love it. I love it.
So this is where the magic happens for your follow-up sequences. And a follow-up sequence is created by when you go into, so again, follow-up sequences are sequence of events that you can trigger and send automatically to a seller. And that can be a ringless voicemail, that can be a text message, that can be an email, and you can also create tasks. And tasks is really important, just as important. So there are 3 apps. This is the follow-up task where you create a task, follow-up messages where you create your ringless voicemail, text, and email, and then your templates. So this is where you put all of your messages and tasks together to create an actual follow-up sequence. So in here, you can see on my action 1, I'm going to send them a text message on day 1. 7 days after the beginning, I'm going to send them another text message. 17 days after the beginning of the sequence, I'm sending them another one. So on and so forth. You can do 23 different or 24 different actions. Okay.
Different, just already filled out, put together, and then on a drip, it'll do it all for you, all automated, all systematized. So guys, this is the beautiful thing. What about a person that you get a hold of and you go and talk to them? I'm going to put you on the spot because maybe there's already an answer. You get a hold of someone. I call Justin, or Justin calls me. I send him out this automated drip campaign. Day 3, Justin calls me back. Do I have to remind myself to go into that follow-up sequence and pull you out, or what does that look like?
So if they text you back or if they email you back, they automatically get removed from any future follow-up sequence.
Okay.
So taken off the follow-up sequence because the system can identify that.
Another automation.
Exactly. And that's why the less you have to think about these little things, the more efficient you can be in thinking about the value producing. Just like, I always say, if I have to think about, like, in my business, if I have to think about if somebody else is doing their job, and it's holding me back from doing what I need to be doing. And that's the same exact way as a system. If I have to think about, did they take it off the system or not? Are they going to get another follow-up sequence? The more I have to think about that, the less I can think about revenue producing stuff. So yes, it does remove them from it. You can also click on here and manually stop it for any reason that you want to. So once you create a follow-up sequence, all that I have to do is come in here, click on one of them, and then click on initiate follow-up sequence. I'm not going to do that because they'll start to get the messages. But that's all that needs to be done to start executing follow-up sequences. And the critical thing, I always create a task at the end of every single sequence, and it notifies the person in charge of the lead saying the seller did not respond to any of our communications, follow up with them manually. And that's important, or put them back on another follow-up sequence, because that's where the dead spot happens. You put them on a follow-up sequence, you don't get notified that they didn't respond back to you. How did you know that you need to follow back up with them? You won't.
Guys,
always put a task.
Let me tell you how crucial this is. This is where deals are missed opportunity, like missed opportunity after. Let me give you real time stat on a deal we did. So of the 9 deals we did last week, one of them came from no less than like 30 contacts, 30 attempts to reach out to this person. Okay. 30 attempts. And so Connor, one of our acquisition managers, says, I'm going to drive by the house. He drives by the house and he ends up not seeing him there, nothing, drives off. The next day, he happened to be like going on another appointment. He drove by again, catches the person, and starts sitting there talking with them. After an hour, comes out with the contract. Now, awesome. I know this is not the same scenario because we're talking about automation versus physically. We were calling him, nothing. Crickets, went dark, crickets, texting. No less than 30 or 40 attempts between phone calls, voicemails, text messages, and then 2 attempts to go to the house, and we end up getting the contract. So many times, let's say you send the drip campaign and no response. Logic would tell you, I've done everything I can. Let's just send him on his way. I've done like you would feel justified in saying, I've done everything I can. I guess this is just not a good lead. Everything would tell you and let you justify that it's okay. We've done everything. We've attempted 30 times, guys, 30 times. But Connor says, I'm going to drive by the house. And he does it 2 times, not 1 time, 2 times. and he gets a contract within an hour of actually physically meeting with the individual. My point here is, just because they say no to the text, your logic will tell you, we tried. I mean, they've gotten like 10 texts now from us. They've gotten like 3 voicemails, no response. I'm just going to mark it dead. Guys, the fact that you can say, hey, and at the end of that, physically figure out how to get a hold of them. There is so much money sitting in the database, and this database allows you to have very much the control of where a lot of people lose control. And that's that automated pieces that say, all these text messages are going to be doing some follow-up for me. And at the end, if no one responds, I'm going to get an alert saying, Cody, pick up the phone and physically get a hold of this person.
Yep, absolutely. And there's, so even beyond that, right? You have your appointments here that you can create appointments. It'll put it on your calendar, not only within Podio, but it'll also sync to your Google Calendar. So, or your Office 365, I think it's called, that calendar as well. So it syncs up with that. So you know when you have appointments.
Yep.
We also created a separate like deals tab. And again, it's the small things, but they're actually really big things for tracking purposes. So you don't get lost in the data. You're going to have, regardless of your business, how good you are at negotiating, you're going to have many fewer deal or less deals by far than you're going to have leads that you talk to.
Yep.
So why have the deals kind of mixed in with your seller leads? Once you click on that a seller lead is under contract, it's automatically going to create a deal for you, a deal item. So now in this deal app, you can now start entering in the all the information here just based on the deal.
Yeah.
And the way that I look at this is that, so you have your seller info that it's all automatically going to put a lot of this information in here. You can put your purchase price, your closing date, again, tracking your marketing campaign, your phone campaign.
Yeah.
You put in your buyer information.
This is huge. I like this because you can now say which buyers, and maybe you'll find out there's a trend. Hey, this buyer not only has bought 5 homes, but all 5 homes have been in zip code 84123. So you can find some unique stats there.
So let's see if this, just.
By the way, real quick, let me show this. Is this CRM linked to your direct mail service, Justin?
So this system, so the way that this system works, it's not linked to the direct mail system. The reason why is because the CRM is intended to be used after contact with the seller.
After it becomes a lead, guys. I was going to say that's when a CRM is actually used. It's not beforehand or what if or could this be. It's once it's a lead.
Yep. So again, going back to this chart, Investor Hub is what's linked to direct mail and all your batch marketing campaigns.
And we'll be talking about that. Are we talking about that one next week?
Next week. Yeah.
Guys, Investor Hub, for those of you on today, I'm telling you right now, get your booties back here Tuesday at the same time. We're going to be started at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be doing this every Tuesday, so you guys can have like a lunch and learn. Investor Hub is not one you want to miss. This is the one that is changing my whole business. And by the way, Brian Hemmerly, he's just sent a text. He's all, dude, this is nuts how incredible it is. And then I had another one, Bob. He sends a picture to me, and his daughter's doing like that was awesome. The return letter stuff. I love it. And the players that are like growing and doing a ton of deals have now swapped over, and they just keep texting me like Grant and Raven. I'm like, don't thank me. We just happen to sync up. I'm like, he's the creator, not me.
The return mail service, when we get to that, and I'll show you guys how to use that on another call, but that little piece saves so much time, hours of time, and it's crazy.
Not, he has his daughter do it, which is beautiful. His daughter's like young, like low teens probably, and she's just like beep beep beep, and he's like, man, this is the greatest thing ever. My daughter thinks it's awesome, and it's like I don't have to hire a VA, I don't have to hire it. My daughter's just like having fun doing this return mail. So we'll get to that next week, guys. By the way, so stay with us because next week there's some cool software we're going to talk about that further gets this automation and get you your time back.
Yeah. So just like you mentioned, right? If I have a buyer and this person wants to buy it, I can go into their lead. Let's say I already have them in my system. I can click on their lead, go into their lead here in the buyers and investors and say, all right, let me scroll down. And under this deal section, it'll tell you how many deals that you sold, the number of deals that you sold to them. the number of deals that you currently have under contract with them, and it'll list all the different deals that they've purchased.
That's awesome.
Give you that information like, all right, this is a solid buyer. Or you can go in and look at the notes. And if you said like, this person is terrible, don't ever talk to them, then
this guy keeps knocking me down on my price. Don't work with them in the future.
Exactly. So this has
a second place offer comes in $2,000 less. You're like going with the $2,000 less because I'm not dealing with this guy.
Absolutely. That's critical. Those are the little things that we've learned along our investment journey that I wish I knew earlier on. Don't just take the highest offer. Make sure you have the information behind you, that this system sets you up for success to do that.
That's awesome.
Also, it shows you your financial info. So again, this deal app shows you actual numbers, right? The actual construction costs, the actual holding costs, how much you actually made. So you could go back and look at the seller lead, and you can click on here, which will take you back into the seller lead. And if you go down to deal info, if as long as this information is filled out, you can look at what was my estimate, what did I think I was going to make on it, and what did I actually make on it. So now you're looking at budget versus actual, which for me is huge. Like, where did I go wrong? How did I over or underestimate certain things? That's going to, again, provide you with the information that you need to make better decisions in the future.
Love it, man. Love it.
I mean, those are just some of, there's more stuff to go through. The other really cool feature that's unique to this system is email blasts. So let's say that you have a wholesale deal you just got on a contract in this system, and we provide you with our 3 email sequence that I use in my company that I've made. Man, selling a property for top dollar has gotten so much easier. Like literally, like that's no joke, because I did a lot of testing. How does this wording work? How does this wording work? Does this work better than the other one? Am I getting higher offers? How are the bids coming in? So just by putting this out there, we've done tons of testing on the back end to make sure that the wording does work. And even like minimum bid, right? Just messing around with this. 505 starting bid or whatever it is. We've tested a lot of different things to make sure that we're getting the highest price, because while you make money on the buy side, I also want to make the most amount of money on the sell side too.
That's right. Here's let's see. Let me put up a banner. So Clive said, just joined. What's this software called? Let me put it up there again, how you can access it. So it's openlettermarketing.com/REFF. This is the portal that you're seeing right now live. You have access to that, and you have access to all my pricing, which is super, super good, that he does for my people. So Justin's the creator of this, him and his team, and he's put together this portal for my people, my community, to get you the best pricing and put it all one-stop shop. So it's like makes it really, really easy. But the CRM we're talking about, if you scroll down, Justin, it's called Deal Flow. So OLM, Deal Flow, CRM. That's what we're talking about right now.
Yep. Absolutely. So the really amazing thing with this is if you have a deal, let me get back to, where was I?
While you're finding that, will this video be able to be replayed? Yes, it lives on forever at our YouTube channel, and it lives on forever in Facebook. So yes.
So this is actually a deal that I did. This is the first email that I send out. So I had a deal, 6-7 Ave, Bedford, right? Subject line of the email, I created this. Again, you get this template with this system because, again, anytime that I see value, I always test things out. And if it works really well, only then will I start offering it to people.
Yeah.
And I do that with everything, the software, what I have in the software, the products, the services, skip tracing, what skip tracing I use, all of that. Yep. We're always testing before we're offering it. So I created this email template, and then down here, basically, you can put different buyers and investors in different brackets. So let me give you an example. If I am investing in Boston and areas north of Boston, and this deal is for north of Boston and for rehabber only, then down here, this is just kind of the default version. I could say north of Boston developer or north of Boston rehabber.
Yep.
So I only want to select the rehabbers north of Boston that are going to get this email. I click on that, and then I click on send email. and anyone that meets that criteria is going to get that email automatically. So that means I'm sending the right email to the right people. Thereby, anytime somebody sees your email, they're going to know that it's exactly what they're looking for. So anytime they see an email from you, they're going to pay attention because it's a deal.
Here's a good question. I think it answers it also, but we'll just verify. So the other one was the direct mail service is not linked to the CRM. However, if a lead calls in off of a direct mail piece through our call rail number, it will automatically show up in the CRM, correct?
That is correct. And even in that question, there is a lot of functionality that happens in that system, because OLM Investor Hub, which we're talking about next week, this one here, that is where you can execute direct mail right out of the system. And then once somebody calls in, now a lead is automatically created in deal flow. Once they're created in deal flow, you don't need to send to them direct mail anymore, because now you're following up through automations and follow-ups. Because these two are synced, it's automatically going to remove them off of future direct mail
campaigns, which is sick, guys. Yeah. I can't even stress this enough. That's why I'm excited for next week. Is the fact that we always look at profitability, and 9 times out of 10, they're like, we just got to do more deals. We just got to do more deals. We just got to do more deals. Yes, that's one side of the coin. You have to do more deals, bring in the revenue, but profitability comes from a two-sided coin. It's revenue in and expenses saved, right? Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about profitability, how do we grow our profit margins? How do we get better at our profit margins, have better profit margins? It's bringing in revenue and finding ways to cut expenses. Mm-hmm. This automatically, once it becomes a lead, it automatically, because those two softwares talk, it automatically pulls them out of the direct mail campaign so that you're saving those future mailings. If you have 100 leads come in this week, why keep mailing those 100 leads? That costs money. That's like $50 you're saving right there by just taking them out, but you don't have to do it. That's the best part. Automation's taking place for you. So once it enters in, and the same thing, let's say the lead goes dark or goes dead, you can send it right back to Investor Hub and put it right back into the campaign. Or, hey, I've lost contact with them, but I want a mail piece to go out. You can add them back into the mail campaign with automation, which is super sweet.
Yep, just this right here, add back to marketing. If I click on that, this lead will get pushed back into OLM Investor Hub, and then back onto my future marketing activities automatically. Don't have to do anything else. Yeah, it's great. That integration is crazy cool and saves a ton of time, so you don't have to do the same task in 2 different locations.
Yeah, we love that functionality.
Yeah. That's kind of the top level stuff. There's awesome, so many additional things that the system does. But those are the big ones that I think
that's the big things that they all need to know, though. Like, yes, could the CRMs do even more? And yes, at some point, does it make sense to know about them, use them? But those are like the big functionalities right now that we just went over that are crucial, that just help automation take place, that help processes take place so that you can have more time back to get more offers, to be face-to-face with people, to lock down contracts. That's the key thing here, guys. It's the minutes that just keep adding up from automation. It's not any one given process. One process may add 20 minutes to your day. One process being automated might add another 10 minutes or 15 minutes. But all in all, if you keep stacking these small little wins with automation, you could see that you could easily get back an hour to 2. I don't know if you have any kind of average stat. What does an average investor gain in time per week by using this software?
In this software here, average investor, they save, in my own company, we save at least 2 to 4 hours a week. Easy.
2 to 4 hours.
And it's not even just the amount of hours that we save. It's the additional deals that we do because we have a system.
That's right. Like this. That's right. That's why I say, guys, don't look at it just, hey, I have 2 and 4 hours more in my life, but think about what 2 and 4 hours could do just landing more deals. So it's not just, oh man, it's 2 to 4 hours. Gosh, I do that in a lunchtime. But what if you had 2 to 4 hours to dedicate to just like incredible follow-up or going on appointments or doing that stop by like my acquisition manager did and get a contract within an hour? I mean, these are the key things. This is how you find time. Doesn't matter if you're Warren Buffett, Donald Trump, Cody Hoffine, Justin Silverio, we all have 24 hours in the day.
That's right.
And the ones that are able to do more with their time have some kind of process, have some kind of automation, have some kind of software that's helping them out.
Absolutely. And just the last point here, the marketing campaign. So again, I did mention that we have marketing campaigns where you can track. So you can enter in what type of marketing that you're sending out, how many leads, the cost. And then from there, it's tracking everything within the system. So, you receive 3 responses. How many of those 3 responses, where are they kind of in their flow? So it'll track appointments set, completed, offers made. So now it does percentages and tells you the number of deals or the leads that you received, how many moved on to appointment set, right? And it will start showing you the different percentages. So if you see a really low percentage in one particular spot, you can really hone in on that and figure out why you have such a low conversion from maybe appointments to offers to contracts, and so on and so forth.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Justin, my friend, I want to thank you for the incredible time. I'm grateful for people like you that will do this, because I sure as heck don't have the mindset or the skill set to put this together. But I do love investing in great people that are willing to put that together for me.
Awesome.
So I want to thank you again. This is 2 weeks in a row. You've taken time out of your schedule. You're even on vacation right now, and we've taken an hour of your time, a little over an hour of your time. So I want to thank you first and foremost for doing that. This serves people at a high level, and I don't want you to feel like, oh man, I hope this is good. I want to be the one that personally says you're serving people at a high level right now by doing this hour. So thank you.
I love this. I love this stuff. That's awesome. And thank you for having me on again.
Perfect. Guys, to learn more, just remember, head on over to openlettermarketing.com/REFF. That's our personal portal made for you guys so that everything's all one-stop shop, all in one easy location, so you can learn about like the direct mail services that you can do through Open Letter Marketing, which happens to be still our lowest cost per conversion when it comes to doing deals, edging with web. That's just continues to be our bread and butter for a low cost per conversion. And they have some mail sequences that are pretty unique. And what's fun about it is he's an investor himself. So he understands through test and trying on his own dollar what works, what doesn't work. And then he brings that knowledge back to us. So you can use them for direct mail, which we do. Love their services. And that's the one I always push for the tribe. Like, this is our guy right here. CRM. And then tomorrow or next week, we're going to learn about the Investor Hub. There's some fun stuff that you guys are going to learn. So next Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place. We're going to be here doing this. So bring your questions, but get ready to be like, boo, I didn't know software could do this, because it's fun stuff. Software. Okay, Justin, thank you so much. Go enjoy your day. Go enjoy your family, and we will talk next week.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. See ya.